because this is pretty well capped. But I'm just going to, I can take this one off fairly easy because I'm going to put a super underneath here anyway, but whoa, some good weight there. Let's have a look at these frames. Yeah, they're pretty good. Look at that, full, there's no room there. So I know that brood nest is going to be full as well. I mean, that is just utterly gorgeous. You know, it's like, that's ready to harvest. Now we can harvest that. So, good morning everybody. Close up the honey extraction room. Lol. Off we go. Because this morning I've been loading up the truck with more supers. Because the good news is we are having some honey going in them. Now, I don't know how much, but what I saw yesterday, I was just finishing another apiary doing some grass cutting. And as you do, you have a quick peek, and I looked in the first couple and went, oh, that's weird, that's full. And then I looked at the next one and that was full. And I looked at the next one after that and that was full. And the problem is, they are completely full. So what that means is, I've got to go in and take off the first super and basically decompress that super by putting another one between the top and the bottom. Now, there's a lot of people who got different views on this, but we all kind of sing off the same song sheet. What we say is, generally, if they've got room in the top, but it's nearly full and they haven't blocked the top of the super up, that's already on, and they can pass through easily, just add another one on top. And the other point of view is, well, if they've nearly filled that top one, but they have blocked the top off, rather than spending ages picking all the wax off and trying to open it up and probably losing some of the honey, just take that box off and put another super between the top of the brood box and the old super back on top. In other words, the one that's full. So they've got a complete gap in the middle. And that's what I've got to do now. The only problem is you've got to lift it up with one hand, and then you've got to pop the frames off in between to break that seal, because even though you leave bee space, sometimes when you've got a queen excluder on, they often build between the two, so you've got to sort that out. So I'm off to do that. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I kind of don't mind, because I'm really excited and really thrilled that it looks like we're going to have some summer honey, despite thinking that it wouldn't be much of a crop at all. I don't know whether the honey's gone in 2 weeks ago when it started to get hot, when the first bramble came out. I think some of it probably has. But where we're going, I used to call it chestnut land. Where we're going is chestnut trees everywhere. And there's also parts of the valley that are a little bit lower down, so there's more moisture I imagine to be gathered in the ground in that area rather than more on the top part. But as I said, it's so much chestnut there, and I haven't got too many hives there, that in good years, even in a rubbish year, it will probably yield, which is what it seems to be doing. So I was going to go back last night because I didn't have the supers with me, but I needed that many supers. I couldn't just grab, say, 15. I might need 20 supers today, and I'm going to another apiary nearby. I'm going to work there and do that as well. And then that will be done, because you've got this point when you're at the flow. Whereas if I don't get the supers on today, I'm missing out some of tomorrow. Because if I do it tomorrow, then I'll miss half a day tomorrow, and so on, and so on, and so on. You've just got to seize that moment and I should have really got them on last night, and I should be there now. But I had to do some admin this morning, and the weather was actually a bit rainy, just drizzly, not really doing anything, not any real benefit arriving now, because we've just missed everything. Every single time the forecasters forecast something for the last 3 weeks, it has never materialized. Every single bit of rain we've had has just gone around us or broke up as it came through us or something like that. And it just seems to be always the same. And our dearth is going to start the minute that nectar flow finishes, the minute the bramble finish and the chestnut finish. We are going to be into big dearth this year. But I've got all my liquid syrup at my old workshop still. I've got access to that. I'll be using all that to feed up the colonies when I do splits, blah, blah, blah. It'll be good fun. There'll be plenty of food for everybody because I haven't done, as I said, I haven't done those earlier heavy spring splits. So there'll be plenty of bees for everybody. It's just a different way of thinking this year, but maybe we'll be okay. I think we'll have some honey. I don't know how much, but let's go and have a look at what I found yesterday and I'll show you what I mean. So we're at the apiary that I often call Chestnut Land. And I came here yesterday and cut all this yesterday, so I'll just spin this around. And you can see I've actually got access in here now. And chestnut trees everywhere here. And this is where I've already found supers that are full. Now you'll see some hives with no supers. Well, I transferred the bees basically into hives yesterday, so they're going to have supers today as well. They've had a night to settle down and they'll hopefully start putting honey straight up. But let's go and have a look what activity is. This is what I really like, is when you come into an apron you can actually walk around in it. So even though it's a bit cloudy, the bees are working pretty well. They're bringing in pollen. I've got a couple of colonies here that are absolutely massive. So those two are brand new yesterday. They were transferred from their boxes that are on top into hives. And you can see, you can just hear that there is a huge movement of bees. So that one was transferred yesterday as well. Just loads. I mean, that tree hasn't even flowered yet. You can see the top of it just coming into flower. That one there obviously is in full flower now. Adding supers is, as I've said before, relatively straightforward. But if you make that little bit of extra effort, I'm sure the benefits are there. Full, as good as. You see all the wax I built on the top. In the feeder, I don't know if I'll be able to get this off that easily. I haven't got my hive tool with me. Yeah, I can get it off. Look at that. If you want to get your bees to swarm, that's what you need to do. Look, brace comb and everything. Still, we can fix all this because this is pretty well capped. I'm just going to, I can take this one off fairly easy because I'm going to put a super underneath here anyway, but whoa, some good weight there. Let's have a look at these frames. Yeah, they're pretty good. Look at that, full, there's no room there. So I know that brood nest is going to be full as well. I mean, that is just utterly gorgeous. You know, it's like, that's ready to harvest. Now I can harvest that now, but I don't want to get my extractor out and all that ready now. You know, but let's pop this on the ground. Oh, weighs a ton. That look, just so easy to do that. And when you pick it up again, you haven't got to really unwrench it from the book where you put it. So you've got an instant seat to put your super on. That's so important when you're doing your quick inspections in the summer. Have an upturned roof or the top of another hive with an upturned table on it there. Makes life so easy, you know. So a very quick look at this brood nest to see how much nectar's in it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be full of nectar, this brood nest. And yes, I'm not doing my 2 weekly inspections anymore because that period has passed for us now. It is absolutely pointless us doing that because we're just wasting it. It's not pointless as in terms of the colonies. We might be able to benefit them a little bit, but oh, there's our queen. White dot queen. doing a fantastic job. Sorry you haven't got any space, dear. But luckily, this brood nest, she's still got room to lay. And it might just be that she's on this frame and she's got room to lay there, just by luck. So the great news is I've used up all the supers I had out with me this morning. So I'm loading a load more on now, but I'm going to do an apiary the other side of my local village, Corsell, but I know there's a lot of really good colonies there as well. So after seeing that this morning, the other place, and I know this is near a lot of chestnut, my alarm bells are ringing, thinking, oh my God, I might have missed the boat here. So I'm just loading a load of supers that I stocked here. The workshop where I used to keep them is now no longer my place where I store my supers. I've got to find a place. I'll build a place here for the winter to store these before my shed's built, so at least they'll all be put out of the way. There's a place going to go just over there where I'll make it all flat and level and put some ground protection down to keep the mice out and stuff like that. But it is what it is. I just have to do that for now. But at the moment I'm using roofs. I've got loads of roofs anyway. So I'm using roofs to cover a stack of 11 or 12. And that works pretty well. Things, these are all nice and dry and ready to go on again, so it's going to be a load on the top of my head. Is I left today, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, I had 32, 38 supers this morning that we used. And okay, I can admit that maybe I was being a bit over presumptuous to think they might fill that, but they could well do. And if I can't get back in a week because I'm going to be doing other stuff, then they've got room. And with the summer, as I said before, the summer flow, you're not going to lose by giving them too much space because it's warm enough. It's the spring you've got to watch with that. You can over super in the spring, but it's a little bit more difficult to over super in the summer flow. Obviously, if you give them a huge cavity, they ain't going to fill it, but it's just getting that balance right. So I'll load another 20 more on here, and then I'm going to go off to Corsell and get that done. But this is all I've got left of nearly 300, or nearly 350 supers, I think. So we're doing pretty well so far to get this amount out used. And next week, if I do a tour and I find some that are still empty on top of others, I'll take them off and put them on top of the ones where they're needed. It's just a way of making sure you don't double move boxes for the sake of it. It all kind of helps. I just cannot wait to get my space built where I can stack stuff and leave it and it's dry, and I can come back and, like, for instance, I want to paint all these boxes. I want to give them all a coat of wood preservative, just to, well, you know, the eco one, the really good one that doesn't harm the bees, but just to get them all the colour I like and to kind of get them up to a spec. And then any that are iffy or got a bit of rot, go through them all. I'm really looking forward to do that, but it's going to be tricky doing that this winter because I can't see my building going up until probably February, March. But we shall see. We live in hope. One minute you've got more supers than you know what to do with, next minute they're all out. What a great feeling. So the other really cool thing on the horizon that's happening here is we are finally getting fibre optic installed to our house and to the whole area. It's been kind of ongoing since we came here 20 years ago, but we've had ADSL, which is okay, but it's obviously we only get 2 meg to the house and it's like absolutely peanuts. But the French government have decided that everyone will have the same rights to have fibre optic, whether you're a business in a big town or whether you're a small individual, in other words, a private dwelling in the middle of nowhere, and everybody is getting it, and it's absolutely fantastic. So it means that everyone is going to have speeds of around 1,000 Mbps, megabits a second. So that's just absolutely amazing. And what they're doing is, at the moment, they're going around doing the main infrastructure, the whole thing at once, so that when the cables are all in, then it's a question of each one just coming around and being connected up. And they're going to use the old phone lines, the phone posts and supports, and where they need to put those green boxes where you have all your junctions and connections of the main areas, they're going to go down the post and into the ground. And there's a lot of areas they've actually got new machines in to run new cables in, new technologies. It's really going to be amazing, and it would have happened actually 2 years earlier had it not been for COVID and had it not been for all the other issues with labour and employment, because they had the money. They've actually said they had the money for it, but they just couldn't get the staff to do it. So, you know, it's a really big thing for us as well, because when you've had children as long as I have, and they're all still using their iPads and all the other stuff as much as they do, for the age they are, they're still drawing like a massive amount down the line that doesn't exist, and it's always me that gets the last bit of any internet that's left. For instance, when I upload my videos, I have to anchor my phone to the local 4G mast. So when that all changes, I'll be able to upload a video so quick, probably in about 5 to 10 minutes, rather than, you know, maybe 25-30 minutes from the top of the house on a good day. And if I was to do it on the old actual landline, it actually takes about, well, 12 hours. It's crazy. But there you go. It's evolution. It's all moving forward. It's a step in the right direction for sure. It's one of the real highlights of us moving here, is the fact we'll have really good, fast internet finally, after all this time, you know. As much as we live in a rural place, to have that will be the icing on the cake. So anyway, that's a good thing. Let's get to this apiary. So we're now at the next apiary of the day, and yes, I know it's disgraceful. You cannot see the hives. This is what I'm up against. But everything looks okay. The bees are working really hard. But before you know it, this will strim so quickly. But I'm actually going to put the supers on before I strim, because when I strim, it'll piss the bees off so much, you know. Oh, suit on. But there's a lot of good hives here. I'm really pleased. And there's a lot of nectar to have here. You can do really well this site. So, and there's a lot of hives here. So, you know, it's a full apiary, and that's why I wanted to make sure I'm here. Look at that passage there. This is late in the day, and the bees are still working really well. That one's going to be a full soup, I can guarantee that. It's just too many bees there and too much going in. Let's just have a very quick, stupid look, as you can't resist us beekeepers. We do this all the time. But I'm pretty sure this is the kind of super it will be full. There's only one on the hive. Oh my word, look. This should have been done a week ago. Look. That's what I mean when you've got to take that off and move that super above. Because there's just nothing can get through, look. Crazy. This is why I'm here now and not tomorrow. Because tomorrow morning they'll be off again and going like mad. And I bet it's the same for that one and probably a lot of the other ones. I should have been more on the ball. But sometimes it just catches you out. But when I've taken this off and got the smoker out, I will just break those wax lines, and they'll have more emphasis on filling the box underneath up as well. I'm glad I brought a load of supers with me. Look at those bees. Let's go and get the smoker and get on. Not good, this, but hey, it happens. And as I say, as I leave, I'll trim it as I leave. Look at the brambles, how they've grown. Lethal. This is why you've got to keep your apiaries clean. But I will be coming to trim this very shortly, like now. Well, the supers are all on, the strimming is done. I can tell you I seem to have unleashed a whole load of whoop ass just a few minutes ago, because they were certainly whipping my ass. They were on my gloves and trying to get up my trousers and everything. But you can see the difference. It's just the right height to just knock back when it's lush and green. But I don't know why, they must have had a shower of rain here that we didn't have at home, because the thunderstorms we've had have been so isolated. And basically everything is so lush here, but I'll come back later. It'll all flatten down in a couple of days, and just to see how the bees and the passage of bees are doing. You see we've got bramble here. That first bramble just behind those hives is just starting to come to an end now. But as all round behind me here, if you can see the sun shining on the top of those chestnut trees, a lot of that is chestnut there. It's a brilliant place, this. It's not very good over the winter because it gets very windy here, and I am going to bring out a lot of all the hives this winter, because a lot of these stages they're on need, as you can see, they were put in badly by me. And for instance, they need levelling. The tyres need to be level before the pallets go on top. So I'm going to take the whole lot away, come back and redo it all, and then hopefully next year will be another good year. But that's another year away. So I'm off home now. I've got a load more supers to stack on the truck, and I don't know how far that's going to get me, but it's all good news because I don't think I've ever used so many supers. Whether they're going to be all filled, I don't know. It depends on the weather the next few days. So, you know, as we always say, it is what it is, and there's not much else more we can do about it. So we can just prepare for the best, and sometimes the worst comes along. But this year, so far, things have been kind to me. And we've had a brilliant spring. I didn't work as hard as I should have done on the bees because I got caught up with the other stuff like a second extraction. But it's a good experience. Because as I said, I'm hoping that when I get my building built, I won't have to leave my bees so much, and I'll be able to go and just get on with looking after these things whilst the honey's kept warm for a certain amount of time. It's all so critical, those few weeks. And you can probably hear the bees are going hell for leather on top of my they absolutely seem to hate this. It's emitting something they don't like, but they don't like the iPhone either. But anyway, whatever you're doing, be well, get your honey supers on, enjoy the summer, because it's very shortly going to all be over. In 2 weeks, that is it for the year. Take care, bye for now.